and this whole summer working on this short film. So just to spend a couple minutes on, you may not be interested in this. Switch the camera over. So right now I'm in the compositing stage of the short film, and so there's different layers here, and I'm just kind of doing some things here to kind of modify it. So this is what the original play looks like, in 3D software, and then I'm applying different filters to particular files. So this is kind of what I'm going for. And in this composite too, there's additional layers, one for shadows, and previous as a pass of just like this kind of grayscale. So that's what I'm working on right now, and hopefully it'll be ready to go by next week when I head back. I apologize too if I'm kind of short for words, because I've been learning Thai here rather than speaking English. So I do apologize for that. So I do want to get started. If there's no questions about the syllabus or the rubric, and we'll just move along, because a lot of the questions that you may have will be answered as we kind of go through the class today. So the first thing I want to discuss is what animation is, and the typical definition of animation is making inanimate objects move. And so making a guitar play on its own, having a desk lamp like the Pixar thing move across the stage, those are all forms of animation. Another way to think of animation is making emotion from motion. So when next time you walk down to class, think about the way you're walking. You can evoke emotion based on that type of walking that you do, whether you're happy or sad. Those kind of things are what we're looking for when we are thinking about animation. In terms of today's class, you'll be looking at different animation examples. Traditional animation, I would consider as like three main pillars. So the first one, which is most common, is hand-drawn animation, which you see a lot of, like Lion King and Aladdin. The second is stop-motion animation, which can be a form of pixelation, where you're taking real live human actors and having them move frame by frame in a space. And you'll see examples of that today. And then the third is rotoscoping, which you can think of the Charles Schwab commercials, where you see people talking about insurance or something like that, and they're all kind of cel-shaded, which is a way of flattening their faces. And so they're just basically drawing over the video footage, and that is called rotoscoping. So those are the three main forms of traditional animation. That's the whole point of the first assignment, is for you to have an opportunity to play with the traditional animation techniques and work on a couple of different. Here's one of my moments of having opportunities to get down timing, and then also get down some form of narrative. So is there any questions for me right now as we move along?
Any questions, guys? No questions.
No questions. Awesome. The word animation, because it's really an intro course to animation, if you were to tell somebody that you work in animation, there's so many different areas that you can work in. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of the studio here. There's about 40 people that work here, but because it's, almost 11 p.m. here, it's 11 p.m. here now, a lot of the people in the culture here is that on Mondays they go either play basketball or they go play badminton. So almost nobody's here right now, but I'll still show you around a little bit. This is kind of like a little mini campus. You've got 4 separate rooms, and the room that we're in right now is the animation room. Okay, do you guys find this interesting, or am I just like talking smoke here? Like it? Okay.
I think you're a rock star.
Well, I'm not a rock star, I'm just a human being. But this is one of the layout guys. He's going to hold the camera here, so that way I'm also recording for the second session. So the second session doesn't, well, let's say hello to the second session. But you guys, obviously, 1:30 in the morning. But we're going to just kind of move along to the room. Like a rookie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's see.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm not allowed to show the screen, but he's working on something. Here's one of the workstations. And then there's all some sort of IT things too that they got to do to make sure everything's running smoothly. For your first assignment, let me switch over to the other camera here. You kind of are given the task to make something engaging and interesting for this first project. And so these are a couple of things that you want to think about. First off, you'll be using After Effects, and we'll be using it in a pretty rudimentary, elementary form, so you don't have to be too concerned about which buttons to click on it. The program itself is very rich, but for what we need it for, we'll be kind of using it in its simplest form. So we'll be using After Effects, and the things about the examples you'll be seeing, not only of animation examples but also student examples, is that what do you find engaging, and how effective are some of these projects? Because we're asking you to make a very short animation, whether it's 10, 15, 20 seconds. And so how can you engage the audience? How can you make it interesting? How can you make it funny? How can you develop a narrative in a very short window of time is really the challenge for this first project. So in terms of do's and don'ts for this first project, things that you want to consider is when you're watching the student examples and the animation examples, is that you want to think about what makes these projects successful or not successful. How are they making it engaging for the viewer? How are they able to make a narrative in the short amount of time that they're given? Because really this project is about making something within 10 to 30 seconds. And so how can you make something that's effective, engaging, interesting to watch in that time period? You'll notice too that some of the students found solutions like using puppets and adding eyes to different objects. That's another way of doing it. Other students are really gifted in hand-drawn illustration, so that's another way of trying to accomplish the project. Those are things you want to think about. One thing that you don't want to do is create time lapse. I had a project early on where somebody created a time lapse of sunsets, people moving. That is not animation. I would consider that closer to video or photography. So we want to stay away from that. Okay. Also, too, you want to think about an emotional response, whether you want people to kind of reflect on the short that you're creating, or whether you want them to laugh. That type of genre and kind of profiling your project will help you in creating something that is concentrated rather than something that is kind of all over the place. And on that note, on Wednesday's lab, you'll be storyboarding your assignment. So you'll want to think in the next couple days what you'll want to create as a narrative, and you will draw out little thumbnail sketches, and I'll upload the storyboard template, so you can go ahead and just draw something for yourself, whether it's just stick figures or something. Roughly every second, you'll want to draw something for the storyboards, and you will take a picture of that or scan it, and you upload it to Icon. So we'll review it next Wednesday, since next Monday we don't have class. Okay, so that's what storyboarding is. You can look up storyboarding on Google Images and see other examples of what storyboarding is, but essentially it's hand-drawn on little tiny drawings the size of your thumb, and you want to follow it almost like a comic strip every second. And that will be very helpful in creating a roadmap. Just kind of like the way you would write an essay. You've got a thesis with 3 main points and a web from that. You also do something similar with creating animations. You'll always start with a blueprint, and that'll be in the form of a storyboard. Okay, so that's what you'll do on Wednesday, and after we're done talking right now, Barber will switch over and he'll show you animation examples and then student examples. Are there any last questions? I went through a lot of material pretty quickly.
No.
Okay, so no questions. That's amazing. I'm really surprised.
Hold on, Ben has a question.
Okay.
Okay. Is it possible that you can categorize what you read for this page on the platform plus that you can something with regard to
Okay, you're kind of cutting in and out. So are you saying you want to get the material that I just spoke about onto Icon? Is that?
Yes.
I was planning to upload this video so you can get the information from the video, but typically the notes that I do post are quite limited, so it's an opportunity for you to try to stay engaged and participate in that way. So be active and kind of write your own notes. That's kind of the way the course is going to be run. So, but thanks for asking. Any other questions?
Any other questions? No.
Wow, you guys are a good bunch.
That's right. You're ready.
All right, that's great. Well, one last thing too is that the course filled up pretty quickly. So if you know that this may be not for you, don't hesitate and don't feel bad that you may want to drop or something like that. It just gives me an opportunity to allow other students who want to take the course to get in. So if you know that maybe this isn't for you, and you see through the syllabus the workload may be a little too intense, then you may want to consider that just to give other people an opportunity to take the course. But other than that, I look forward to seeing all of you. I look forward to being back to Iowa, and I really look forward to a great semester. Me and Barbara were pretty nice guys, so don't be scared to ask us any question during the semester. And Steve is also very knowledgeable, Steve Strait, and so the three of us, especially the two of us, will be able to assist with any questions you may have. Okay?
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good rest of the class.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.